at the end of the day, they trigger something. They make you look. The fact that you could have done the bad thing, but then you decided to do the good thing gives more weight to that good thing. It gives it more value. And at the end of the day, I mean, all of us, we're all an instance of the same thing. A different instance of the same thing. So that's why we relate to those primal emotions and the feelings of guilt or surprise or fear or etc. So if games can do that, then it's a huge win.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think a lot of games do tackle things like that in different ways, but there's something about the immersive sim, design philosophy of it is just the choice in all the different ways, whether it's how you play, how you choose to interact with people or the things around you. It's a lot more player agency, and it feels a lot more personal, in comparison to something else.
Including choices that don't truly matter, but the fact that there was a choice,
there was a choice,
You can shoot the cat if you want. It's like sucks, you're an asshole, but you deal with it.
Yeah,
exactly. Which that kind of brings me to. We've talked about like immersive sim is it's a hard thing to kind of explain, but everybody kind of agrees on what it is. So Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, right? That is very much so considered to be an immersive sim by the majority of people. And so adjacent to that is the Outer Worlds, which have you played at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you consider the Outer Worlds to be an immersive sim, given that it has a good bit of elements from the likes of VTMB and the original Fallout in a lot of ways? Of course, it's lacking in certain areas that you would get in like a Prey or something, but in some,
I think these games are very similar. I think it's more like they put the emphasis on different things. Like if I look at a Bethesda Obsidian game, because the difference between Outer World and Fallout, New Vegas, or even they're not that different, frankly. So to me, they all fall in the same category. And the difference I think then between these games and games from Arkane is that I think we put more emphasis on the level design part, on the spatial, but spatial aspect of the the verticality, the how the mechanics, how the action side flows into the exploration. But other than that, they're pretty similar. It's different expression of the same intentions.
Yeah, I think with I think it's like the Outer Worlds and Fallout New Vegas specifically from the Fallout series. Something that resonates with immersive sims is kind of the choice to kill everyone, and the game still will conclude in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I think that's something that not very many games do. There's actually a game that just released you might have seen as Atomfall. It offers the ability to.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it offers the ability to kill anybody in the game. Outside of that, I wouldn't say that it has anything really that similar to an Outer Worlds or your typical immersive sim. But it does have a very immersive sim-like kind of philosophy in their design, where, at least in part, where once you walk out of a place at the very beginning, you can kind of just be like, hey, I can go wherever. And the game doesn't actually give you a marker. It gives you very little information. And there's no quest marker in the whole game. You have a map, but you don't have a mini-map. So it's very much like you follow leads, and it kind of branches from there, and you just kind of explore and piece together everything as you play. So it's a lot more, up to the player how they progress. And I'm just curious how you would think about like a kind of design like that.
Well, as a matter of fact, we have a mode without marker so that's an exclusive. Here is a thing that we've never said before.
Going right in the thumbnail.
I'm messaging IGN after this exclusive.
And I mean the reason why we do this is because markers always feel a little artificial, and you always feel like you're being pulled by the nose, But also they're necessary, because without markers, people are lost. And so the way we do it is that we design our environment without the markers, so that then it forces all the artists and the level designers to think in terms of landmarks and assume that there's not going to be any markers in the game. So then when you tell the player, you have to go that way, and then you have a character showing that way, saying like, go down the hill, turn to the right after the dead tree, and then you will see a cave. Then we say that, as opposed to just relying on an arrow, and then the level designers when they rely on an arrow, they're a little more and that's not negative, but they're a little more lazy. That's why,
listen to that, Sandy Peterson.
They're not try too hard. And they're not going to try too hard to make it very to work on landmarks. So then you can have an environment that is pretty mazy because people never cared for because they always have this arrow or this marker telling them where to go. Right. So now we'll still put an option on and off, so that because we can't.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I actually play a lot of Prey without tracking quests, because then you lose the marker, and I feel like that game is very playable if there was no marker. Like there's a lot of things that kind of not necessarily like you would still have to look at the menu to like look at the quest and see what it says, but like if that's all you had to do, you could get you could find your way around relatively easily, I feel like. And with like Atomfall, you have to like, they mark some things on your map that you can go and look in the menu, but there's actually things where you'll find a paper that's like a lead, and then like on the paper there's latitude and longitude, and you have to like go to your map and then look, and you're like, okay, so it should be right here, and then you can place your own little marker, and you have to keep going back to the map if you don't know if you're going in the right direction.
Straight from the 80s.
Yeah, and I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like, I like that because it just allows me to get lost and just try to figure things out.
Yeah. No, I remember when part of the gameplay back in the 80s was to actually do the map, with your hands on the paper as you were trying to figure out where you were. And it was, of course, it would not fly today, but it was a certain pleasure to it, And but also it's also work in a world where you have no choice. Like all you have is like these 2 games that came out this month, and this one is one you like, and they cost a fortune anyway. So then you're just you're gonna invest yourself in that game forever until you finish it. Now people are so easily distracted, they go on Game Pass and they can just play a different game if this one is too complex for them.
I was just curious, to put you on the spot, if there was any moment in a game that you've had a hand in making that kind of summed up your game design or your philosophy about life, and you're like, that's me, that kind of is how I view the world and how I want to be, how I want people to think of it.
If there's any game that represents my game design philosophy, or
if there was like a game moment, like say a particular ending experience, or maybe even just anything that you felt like that was kind of like a summation of my philosophy.
Oh yeah. Well, I probably would have to name an older game.
That's okay. Some of us are older gamers, so we'll get the reference.
And I'm trying to think of like games that I've really, really, I think I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking of Thief. The game Thief. There was some moments where I was just lost. I was not lost because I could not find my way, but I was not on planet Earth anymore. I was in that world. Yeah. I had this. What was the name of that? There was a sound card that had this protocol 3D audio. I can't remember what it was called. Audio X or whatever it was. Like it was working in quadrophony. So I had my 4 speakers, and somehow Thief actually supported that mode. And one of the strengths of Thief was the sound, and so they were you could hear, and the way they did their portalization to place in 3D, the sound was so well done.
It was one of the earliest examples of that, right? Like the 3D audio kind of thing.
Yeah.